Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited. Isis, All That Glitters. The goddess next door takes on a bikini-clad bank robber in this action-packed all-new Isis series adventure. Get Isis, All That Glitters in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. Comic book writer Gail Simone has announced that she is no longer working with Dynamite Comics. And your Gail Simone is alleged to have decided to walk away from Dynamite Comics due to their decision to work with members of what is called ComicsGate. And it's believed that she decided to leave Dynamite Comics after the controversy over the cover made by Cecil and the Indiegogo regarding it. Now, when I take a critical examination of Gail Simone's decision, I see it as her prerogative because anyone in America can choose to work for whoever they want. But when I look at her decision, I don't see it as something that was thought out critically. It seems like this decision to leave Dynamite Comics is primarily driven by her emotions regarding what she believes to be a betrayal by the Dynamite publisher and CEO and their so-called friendship, but I don't see any betrayal of friendship when it comes down to the business of Dynamite Comics. And the CEO of Dynamite Comics and the publisher was making a business decision when he decided to go out here and hire Cecil to design that cover, a cover that practically got funded in less than an hour and was going up to about $10,000 in just an hour or so. So he was thinking from a business perspective about his business, and he was thinking about ways to generate sales for the intellectual properties he owns, like Vampirella, Red Sonja, and many other licenses that he has purchased over the years. He was thinking about the big picture as related to his business. Meanwhile, Gail Simone was caught up in her emotions regarding the narratives of social justice and the identity politics of those who are out here that are allegedly a part of the mainstream comic book industry. And that's where the big problem lies, as I see it, with Gail Simone, because she practically threw away an opportunity to work with a publisher she was at and had a relationship with in good standing, all over her personal politics, not understanding how hard it is for anyone to break into this industry. As I see it, she has practically taken her position in the comic book industry for granted, and she probably thinks that she can go anywhere now that she's severed ties with Dynamite Comics, not understanding that your last product is the thing that gets you in the door with other publishers, and your professional reputation is what gets you an offer of employment. And when I look at Gail's last project, The Death-Defying Devil, and how terrible that 4-issue series was, that's not really an indicator that's positive to any publisher that they should go out here and hire her. And her unprofessional attitude on social media is something that I would also see as a hindrance as a publisher to the thing that I primarily need from a writer, and that is sales. So yes, Gail Simone can generate a lot of controversy like she did with the Women in Refrigerators website, and she generates a lot of controversy on Twitter. But when I look at her page as related to her stories and her storytelling, I don't see the Gail Simone of the past on the page of her most recent comics. And instead of her getting upset about the politics as related to Dynamite's business, she should have been focusing on making sure that her stories were of the highest quality and making sure that she had an exit strategy as related to her next employer, because to have a public spat online like she did with Dynamite Comics is not a good way to end things with a publisher, because other publishers see this type of drama and then they don't want to go out here and hire you. And that's why the Twitter mob can work against you, because when you're out here and you're a part of the Twitter mob or starting the Twitter mob, it's one thing, but in the real world of business, business people don't do business based on the whole Twitter mob. And that's something that I'm seeing Dynamite starting to understand as related to business. They're understanding they cannot go out here and try to appeal to the Twitter mob, because the Twitter mob is not the one buying the comics. Yes, they're on the pirate websites looking at the free copies of these comics, but they're not the ones actually buying these comics. And that's what Dynamite's publisher was really thinking about when they went out to hire Cecil to do their cover. They were thinking about getting comics in the hands of readers. That's something Gail Simone didn't really understand, and that's one of the reasons why she quit, is because she doesn't really understand the business of publishing commercial characters. Because when you're producing commercial characters, your ultimate goal is to generate sales, and your goal is to find the talent that will draw readers to your product. And it's not about their affiliation with whatever social faction like ComicsGate, or even their own personal politics. It is about that person's ability to draw readers. It is about their ability to draw those readers into buying that comic on the regular and anticipating the next issue of that comic. That's what a publisher thinks about, like myself, whenever we want to go out here and hire an artist to do a cover, hire a writer to write a story, or hire a cover artist to design a cover. We're thinking about finding the best person for the job, and we're not thinking about who they worked for in the past, and we're not thinking about who they're affiliated with, because that type of junior high school thinking will lead to you winding up in poverty and emotional choices to go out here and leave a company where you're in good standing just because you disagree with the publisher's ideas or the publisher's decisions as related to their business. That's not going to hurt the publisher. That's going to hurt someone like Gail Simone, because again, people are looking at her last project and they're thinking about how that's going to affect their bottom line, and they're thinking, hey, this woman couldn't get out a 4-issue miniseries that was of quality, so why should we hire her? And even worse, she brings a lot of social baggage from social media and a lot of drama. And as a publisher, I want people focused on buying my product, not on a creator's drama. So she's made herself a liability, and she's made herself a liability in a tremendous way, because Dynamite was doing her a favor, as I see it, by publishing that horrible Death-Defying Devil series, and she didn't appreciate the opportunity given to her, like many of the people out here who I see are in the comic book industry. They don't appreciate the opportunity to be there, and as I see it, publishers like Dynamite, what they really need to do is let these people go, because there are so many great, talented creators out there like myself and many others who would appreciate the opportunity to work on their commercial properties. And there are many talented creators out here like myself who would jump at that opportunity and understand that, when you're in a work-for-hire situation, your goal is to produce the best quality stories and go out here and make sure that those stories are being sold to the reader and present a professional presence that, allows the readers to engage with you online. I mean, if I were working for Dynamite right now, I would be doing live streams to sell Dynamite comics to readers. I would be going out here and doing videos to promote them. I would even probably be doing ads like I do on the front of my own videos, because my goal is not only to sell their characters, but to sell myself and to make it where people feel comfortable enough with me that they want to go out here and buy the product. So that's how I would go out here and be a part of an asset to Dynamite Comics or any comic book company, because I understand that this opportunity to work at a company like this is extremely rare. And once you get that shot, you want to go out here and put out the best comics you could possibly can, and put out the best stories you possibly can, because these opportunities, they don't come that often. And that's what I see as the big mistake with Gail Simone, is that she doesn't appreciate the opportunity she has had with Dynamite. She doesn't understand the business of Dynamite, and she doesn't understand that Dynamite had to go out here and do what it needed to do. It's not about these creators' politics. It's about your sales, and it's about giving your customers the very best stories and the very best art they could possibly get for $4 or $5, and trying to get those readers to come back for that next issue, because you only get one chance at a first impression on a reader, and if you don't make that first impression, you're not going to get that second sale. So when I look at Gail Simone leaving Dynamite Comics, yeah, I'm not emotional about it, but I understand that she was in her emotions when she left, and she doesn't understand what she just did was more damaging to her than to Dynamite Comics, because Dynamite, as I see it, will bounce back if they can find qualified talent, and there's plenty of qualified talent out there from what I've been seeing. They will move forward, and they will move forward in a positive way, because a lot of these, what people call SJW creators, they have been hindering a lot of these characters, and if these people want to leave, then it's better for the industry, it's better for Dynamite's business, because seasoned, talented professionals, they're going to take these characters to the next level. They're going to tell stories based on the characters, and they're going to move forward as related to their careers based on the merits of the stories they're telling, and that's going to be the thing that makes Dynamite a competitor. And as I see it, if it means moving dead weight like Gail Simone out of the way, that's going to help Dynamite Comics and the comic book industry in the long term. Now, if you want to try some of my SJS Direct publications featuring heroines similar to Dynamite's, like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, the Spinsterella trilogy, and books like the Thetas, you may do so by clicking the link to Amazon.com in the description box. You can find those books in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them on Smashwords and the iBookstore and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, Samurai Goddess. The Goddess Next Door takes on Kung Fu killers in this action-packed martial arts ISIS series adventure. Get Isis, Samurai Goddess in paperback and e-readers today.